A very good evening and welcome to the news tonight here in Rajya Sabha TV, where we get you the day's top developments from India and across the world. Today, of course, a special focus continuing on Arunachal Pradesh and the politics there. We'll get you all of that in a bit. I'm Tracy Shilshi and here are the headlines. Developments in Arunachal politics echo in both houses of parliament. The Congress stages a walkout in Lok Sabha and forces adjournments in Rajya Sabha. The Aam Aadmi Party keeps up its attack against Arun Jaitley over his DDCA tenure. BJP leaders rally around the finance minister to rebut the charges. Indian markets hold firm a day after the US Fed Reserve raises interest rates. The Sensex closes 309 points up. Nifty settles with a 93-point gain. And European Union leaders to meet for the final summit of the year. Migrant crisis and global terrorism to be the focus of the meeting. And like we said, we're getting you the latest that is developing, of course, in Arunachal Pradesh. The Guwahati High Court has stayed all the proceedings at present of the State Assembly session till the 2nd of February 2016. This, of course, coming just hours after 14 of the 26 MLAs supporting the Chief Minister, Nabam Tuki, have turned rebels. 34 of the 60 MLAs have already voted against the Tuki government and elected Kalikho Pul as their leader. The dissident MLAs, supported by the BJP, are likely to meet the governor soon and apprise them of the situation. But calling the move unconstitutional, the current Chief Minister has written to the Prime Minister and also the President. On Wednesday, remember, the dissident MLAs, along with 11 BJP MLAs, held an assembly session in a community hall. This happened even as the government ordered a magistrate to keep the assembly locked, after which the governor told them to go ahead with the session in a community centre. All right, for more on the situation that's developing there and also to give more information on what the Guwahati High Court said just a short while back, we're joined on the phone line by Nabam Rebia, who's the Speaker of the Assembly of the Arunachal Pradesh Assembly there, the Speaker there. Mr. Rebia, thanks so much for joining us. If you could give us an idea of what the Guwahati High Court said, it's of course coming in as some relief to you and of course the Chief Minister as well. If you could explain the significance of that.
Thank you very much. And it's not some relief, but it's a permanent relief, in fact, because our stand has been vindicated by the Honorable High Court Court's stay order. And we have, from day one, we have been saying that the decision of the governor to prepone the assembly is totally unconstitutional, illegal and unprecedented. And this has been confirmed by the Honorable High Court. And here the Honorable High Court has been pleased to stay all the orders issued by His Excellency the Governor of Arunachal Pradesh.
All right. What we are seeing, of course, is unprecedented, as far as not just this High Court order and, of course, how it's coming down against the governor and his actions, but also what has been taking place the past few days. What is going to be now your, the next step? What is the government going to be doing now? What do we see actually happening now in the Assembly?
Exactly, nothing is happening. It is all the creation of the governor. And because already the sixth session of the sixth legislative assembly of Arunachal Pradesh assembly was summoned on 14th of January 2016. And this assembly has been unnecessarily, illegally preponed by the Governor of Arunachal Pradesh on 16th of December 2015.
Yes.
Summons are issued in the name of the governor. He himself has summoned the assembly of the sixth constituency of the sitting of the sixth session of the legislative assembly. And the reasons for which the preponed assembly session is not clearly spelled out.
All right. All right. What you're seeing, of course, at the moment is the governor's action, like everyone has been pointed out, especially the Congress has been pointing out the governor's actions, of course, questionable, unconstitutional as well. And what you're seeing at the moment is that the winter session that was to be held, in January next year was preponed. And now what you're going to be doing is perhaps go as the plan was earlier. But Mr. Rebia, if you could also clarify, as this confusion goes on, what we are also seeing on the ground is that the BJP is somehow getting all those numbers slowly. A lot of Congress rebel MLAs are joining their ranks. Is that a problem that you're foreseeing in the future, when eventually the proper session starts? Is that a problem that the current Chief Minister is facing? Is he going to be speaking to a lot of the Congress MLAs, of course?
Absolutely, I don't see any problem of the present regime, the present government here. And it's all the creation of some of the BJP people, Congress people. As a speaker, I'm not supposed to speak on party lines. But what the present governor, and if there's a deflection, it will be as per the constitution. This is all, the atmosphere has been vitiated by the governor. And he is to be held responsible for everything what is happening here. And I don't see any uncertainty, any instability in the present regime, present government. Led by the present Chief Minister of the Congress Party.
All right. Mr. Rebia, thank you so much for speaking to us, clarifying to us that at least at the moment, the Guwahati High Court, they're staying all the proceedings that have been taking place the past 2 days at least, as far as the governor's actions are concerned. And in a way, giving some relief, of course, to the current speaker who we just spoke to, at the moment, staying that removal that we saw of sorts just 2 days back. We'll keep an eye out on developments, of course, there in Arunachal Pradesh, because, of course, here in the capital, Parliament too, of course, echoing with that, the crisis that is happening there. Rajya Sabha, in fact, the proceedings were disrupted by opposition protests against the governor's role in Arunachal Pradesh. Amid many adjournments, the Congress, in fact, moved a motion to discuss the governor's conduct. The decision of the chairman of the Rajya Sabha on allowing that motion is still awaited.
The Congress on Thursday moved a motion under Rule 167 to discuss the role of Arunachal Pradesh governor.
You can give a notice.
Leader of opposition Ghulam Nabi Azad pointed out that the proceedings of the State Assembly were conducted at makeshift venue.
विधान सभा से हटाकर कल मेन शिफ्ट जो अभी मैं बता रहा हूं विधान सभा के अंदर हो जाए, चाहे वो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल है डायरेक्शन या नहीं है, लेकिन विधान सभा के अंदर बाहर क्या कोई दूसरी विधान सभा भी बन सकती है किसी के प्राइवेट? ये सवाल है लोकतंत्र के लिए और सभी राजनीतिक दल जो यहाँ बैठे हैं.
20,000 towers in the country.
Other parties also joined the Congress in claiming that a constitutional crisis was being created in Arunachal Pradesh.
That procedure of what is happening is absolutely anti-democratic. That is something we have to give our opinion that we cannot accept it.
सरकार को जो है वो इस पे इधर-उधर की बात नहीं करना चाहिए. ऐसे मामलों में तत्काल आपको कार्रवाई करना चाहिए. सीधी बात ये है कि गवर्नर जो है वो हम सब जानते हैं, यानी एक आदमी चुनी हुई सरकार को और असेंबली बाहर बिठा ली जा रही है.
The government strongly reacted to opposition's allegations.
Special mention KP Ramalingam.
Minister of State for Parliamentary Affairs Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi said the State Assembly proceedings can't be discussed in Rajya Sabha. He also slammed the Congress for disrupting proceedings.
Assemblies की एक्टिविटीज पर किसी भी रूप में हम यहाँ चर्चा नहीं कर सकते. आप असेंबली की एक्टिविटी में चर्चा करना चाह रहे हैं. आप गवर्नर को वहाँ पर भड़का रहे हैं. आप चर्चा में संवैधानिक काम करने ही दे रहे हैं.
Deputy Chairman P.J. Kurian informed the House that Chairman Mohammad Hamid Ansari was examining the notice to discuss the governor's conduct. Rules 167 to 174 of the Rajya Sabha Rules of Procedure and Conduct of Business provide that no discussion on matter of general public interest shall take place except on a motion made with the chairman's consent.
The substantive motion to discuss the conduct of the governor, and this is being examined by the Honorable Chairman, and the Chairman will take a decision whether it to be discussed or not. And after the decision of the Chairman comes, I will come. After comes, if Chairman allows, we can discuss it.
No, please go back to your places.
The Congress even alleged an attempt to topple the state government by the centre. Party members trooped into the well of the House, unsettling the proceedings in the House. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha Television.
And the political crisis in Arunachal Pradesh figured in Lok Sabha as well. Congress members staged a walkout after the government stated that the centre had no role to play in the state's affairs.
Parliamentary Affairs Minister Venkaiah Naidu told Lok Sabha on Thursday that the centre had no role in the developments in Arunachal Pradesh. He also insisted that the governor had acted within the confines of the constitution.
The governor, as per the constitution 174, 175, 181, has acted within his rights, and then from time to time he has been informing the Honorable President of India. The legislators who are in the ruling party, they broke away from that party for whatever reasons known to them, and they gave a no-confidence motion against the Speaker. And then Governor has asked the Speaker to face the House and take this no-confidence motion. They did not immediately respond to that. So the Governor has summoned the Assembly and fixed the date of 16th yesterday for the no-confidence motion to be decided on the floor of the House.
Before this, when the House convened, Congress members staged protest, alleging that the centre was directing the events unfolding in the state. They charged the governor with trying to unseat a democratically elected government.
And Congress party has got two-third majority and two-third MLAs, 47 MLAs are belonging to Congress party. The central government is instigating governor to divide the party.
Governor cannot be that main name. No. Nothing will go.
The new development, this is news. They have conducted the assembly outside the assembly hall.
No.
In a community hall they have conducted. They have removed the speaker and deputy speaker is presiding over. No. Such things outside the assembly. Where is the democracy? Democracy they are killing.
Expressing their displeasure, Congress members staged a walkout from the House. Congress rebel MLAs joined BJP MLAs in bringing a no-confidence motion in the state, forcing a constitutional crisis in the state. Pranav Goswami's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And apart from the Arunachal crisis, the government is also busy defending itself from charges coming in from the Aam Aadmi Party, which continues to target Finance Minister Arun Jaitley and his tenure as president of the Delhi and District Cricket Association, or the DDCA, for 13 years. Jaitley today rejected the outright charges of financial misconduct. Here's a report.
Finance Minister Arun Jaitley has rubbished claims made by the Aam Aadmi Party about corruption in the Delhi District Cricket Association, which he headed for 13 years till 2013. Jaitley in turn accuses AAP of shielding corrupt officials by using the DDCA issue.
The fact is that it was an officer under investigation, and it was only an officer's office which was searched. And because the Chief Minister thought to place himself in front of that officer in order to defend him, he has been caught in an embarrassing position.
DDCA too strongly came out in support of its former chief. The Delhi cricket body has called the charges baseless.
The inquiry was completed also in the tenure of the previous government, and as I said, whatever lapses were found, irregularities were found, they all have been taken care of.
Earlier in the day, the Aam Aadmi Party had escalated its attack on Arun Jaitley, accusing him of misappropriating funds from the DDCA. The party said that through CBI raids at the Delhi Secretariat earlier this week, files related to DDCA were reconstructed. They have found support from the Congress as well.
जब मुख्यमंत्री जी इस पर कमीशन ऑफ इंक्वायरी बिठाने बैठे तो उनके दफ्तर पर रेड कर दी गई और रेड कर डीडीसीए की फाइलें की छानबीन करी गई, जिसमें तमाम तथ्य और आगे क्या कदम मुख्यमंत्री जी उठाना जाने वाले थे वो सब चीजें लिखी हुई।
हम तो इसके पक्ष में हैं कि इसकी पूरी जांच होना चाहिए और केजरीवाल जी को कमीशन बिठाना चाहिए। जेपीसी की जो मांग है कांग्रेस की वो बिल्कुल सही है और वो जेपीसी का अध्यक्ष जो है अगर बहुमत से के हिसाब से बनना चाहिए तो कीर्ति आजाद साहब को उसका अध्यक्ष बना देना चाहिए।
The entire issue surfaced after the CBI conducted raids at the Delhi Secretariat. The agency meanwhile continued questioning Principal Secretary Rajendra Kumar. Anu Devan's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
The Ministry of External Affairs has released the photograph of Geeta, the deaf and mute girl who was brought back from Pakistan recently. The picture is of a young Geeta to help her family recognize her. The ministry has urged everyone to come forward and help identify the family of the girl.
और आज इस प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस के माध्यम से मैं अपील करना चाहता हूं जितने भी हमारे टीवी चैनल्स हैं कि कृपया गीता के माता पिता की तलाश करने में वो हमारा सहयोग करें और ये हम अपने पब्लिक ब्रॉडकास्टर के माध्यम से भी इस फोटो को इसका प्रचारित करेंगे ताकि गीता के असली माता पिता यदि इस फोटो को देखें तो वो आगे आएं और हमारी मदद करें.
And now let's get you some more updates from across the country and nationwide. A third suspected Al-Qaeda operative has been arrested by the Delhi police from Sambhal district of Uttar Pradesh. The suspect, Jafar Masood, was arrested by the special cell on Wednesday night, making it the third arrest in 2 days. Earlier, 2 suspected Al-Qaeda operatives were arrested from New Delhi and Odisha. Both were remanded to 12-day police custody by a Delhi court today. In a setback to the BJP-led government in Jharkhand, Congress candidate Sukhdev Bhagat won the assembly by-poll seat from Lohardaga. Bhagat defeated Neeru Shanti Bhagat of the AJSU, an ally of the NDA. The by-poll was necessitated following the disqualification of AJSU leader Kamal Kishore Bhagat after he was sentenced to jail for 5 years in an assault case. The Sahitya Academy board members met today to decide the fate of protesting authors who returned their awards. The panel said that 35 of the 39 protesting authors have returned their award money through checks that have not been encashed yet. The Academy also announced this year's award winners. Making a U-turn from his previous statement, RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat today said that reservations should continue in the country as long as there was social discrimination. Bhagwat also said that the Sangh was not in favour of scrapping the quota system. He had earlier called for a review of the reservation system, creating a controversy just before the Bihar elections. With that, a quick break here, but still ahead, tensions flare in the South China Sea as Australia refuses to give in to Chinese warnings. Details of that in a bit.
US Fed cuts interest rates. How will it impact emerging markets? Can Indian stocks remain unaffected? Watch the big picture at 9:30 p.m. on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. Now, indicating that the American economy is on the right track, the US Federal Reserve hiked interest rates late Wednesday after nearly a decade. The hike, however, did not have the expected impact on markets worldwide. The Indian markets, in fact, closed higher in keeping with the policymakers' expectations that the country's economy is well cushioned.
The BSE Sensex and NSE Nifty extended gains for the 4th consecutive session on Thursday, despite the US Federal Reserve raising interest rates late Wednesday night. Sensex closed 309.4 points up at 25,803.78, while NSE Nifty settled 93.45 points up at 7,844. However, the markets not being affected by the rate hike has not come up entirely as a surprise. In recent times, policymakers have touted India's stronger position vis-a-vis other economies, saying the country was well cushioned due to its better economic fundamentals.
We're really well cushioned on the macroeconomic side. So inflation is coming down. Our fiscal deficit situation is very good. External situation is also robust. So I think that for all these reasons, I think the impact on India should be relatively minimal. Yeah.
The hike is the first in nearly a decade, 9 years to be precise, and it signals faith that the US economy has largely overcome the wounds of the 2007 to 2009 financial crisis. The decision brings to an end a lengthy debate about whether the economy was strong enough to withstand higher borrowing costs. The Fed has made it clear that this hike was a tentative beginning to a gradual tightening cycle.
It takes time for monetary policy actions to affect future economic outcomes. Were the FOMC to delay the start of policy normalization for too long, we would likely end up having to tighten policy relatively abruptly at some point to keep the economy from overheating and inflation from significantly overshooting our objective.
The rate hike is an immediate test of new financial tools as well as a likely reshuffling of the global capital as the reality of the rate hike sets in. The effect of the rate hike on long-term mortgage rates, consumer loans and other forms of credit will reveal itself slowly. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, the US Congress has doubled a special fee on the popular H-1B and L-1 visas, raising it up to $4,500 to fund a 9/11 Healthcare Act and biometric tracking system that will hit Indian IT companies. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Wednesday raised this issue with US President Barack Obama. The US bill estimates that the special fee could generate $1 billion per year. Modi reportedly shared the Indian IT industry's concerns on the proposed legislation when Obama called him to thank him for his leadership at the Paris Climate Change Summit. The US bill is reportedly drafted specifically to impact Indian companies alone. European Union leaders are meeting for their final summit this year. The migrant crisis and global terrorism are expected to be the focus of their discussions. Leaders will also discuss the UK's likely exit from the EU. And ahead of the meeting, EU Commission Chief Jean-Claude Juncker said that he will reach a fair deal with Britain to keep it from leaving the bloc.
Two pressing global issues, migrant crisis and terrorism, are expected to be the top focus in the final European Union Summit 2015. Germany and other nations will discuss with Turkey ways and means to settle thousands of Syrian refugees straight from camps in Turkey. Earlier on Tuesday, the EU presented new border and coast guard plans to manage external borders and protect the passport-free policy in order to stem massive migrant influx.
The aim of this new integrated border management architecture is to prevent uncontrollable situations and to strengthen our collective ability to deal with crisis situations where a section of the external border suddenly comes under strong pressure.
They will also discuss the UK referendum. This as British Prime Minister David Cameron proposed a number of reforms ahead of the vote on UK's EU membership. They will also discuss the economic and monetary union as leaders discuss fresh proposals from EU chiefs. Ahead of the summit, EU Commission Chief Jean-Claude Juncker said they will reach a fair deal to avoid Brexit, Britain leaving the EU bloc. British Prime Minister David Cameron also faces an uphill task to secure agreement on curbing welfare payments to EU migrants.
And this fair deal with Britain has to be a fair deal for the other 27 too, so we are open-minded. We are engaging in this dialogue, which will be a negotiation with Britain in an open-minded way. I don't want the British to leave, and I don't want to blame the British.
2015 has been a tumultuous year for the European nations, with an overwhelming number of migrants from war-torn Middle Eastern countries taking refuge in Europe. Now they are struggling to maintain unity at the meeting. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Tensions flared up over the South China Sea today. Australia responded angrily to Beijing's warnings over flying its aircraft over the disputed islands, saying that Canberra will not bow to Chinese pressure. However, China says that certain countries are looking for excuses to meddle in the region, which is otherwise stable. A US commander is warning of a possible arms race in the region. Here's more on this report.
The South China Sea, back again at the center of the territorial spat between China and its regional neighbors and other countries. Australia says it will not halt surveillance flights over disputed islands in the sea. This comes in the backdrop of a Royal Australian Air Force surveillance plane flying over the sea on Tuesday. It prompted China to warn other nations against bringing up troubles in the region.
Maritime surveillance and air surveillance are very important to the job that the ADF does in maintaining regional stability and security. We'll continue to do that, and we do that in accordance with the international laws of the sea, freedom of overflight, freedom of navigation, and we always operate in a very constructive way in the region.
Earlier, a senior American naval commander implicitly accused China of creating so-called military zones close to its artificial islands. He said such actions were eroding the security of one of the world's busiest waterways, warning that a possible arms race could engulf the region. However, China said other countries wanted to meddle in the affairs of South China Sea.
中方坚持同直接当事国通过谈判协商解决有关争议的决心坚定不移。中国和东盟一直致力于维护南海地区的和平稳定。
China claims most of the South China Sea, through which more than $5 trillion of world trade ships every year. Many other countries, including Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, the Philippines and Taiwan, also claim parts of the South China Sea. Beijing is building 7 man-made islands on reefs in the Spratly Islands, fanning regional tensions. The US is now likely to send military vessel to the South China Sea next year. In October, it drew angry rebukes from Beijing when a US-guided missile destroyer sailed close to one of its man-made islands. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
All right, changing tracks now. Let's get you all the latest from the world of sports in Sports Beat. The Indian squad for the upcoming Australia tour will be picked in Delhi on Saturday. The tour will include 5 ODIs and 3 T20 internationals. The matches will be played between the 12th of January and the 31st. Mahendra Singh Dhoni is likely to be retained as captain, although the visiting South African side beat India both in the ODI and the T20 series under him in November. Jose Mourinho has been sacked as Chelsea manager following a 2-1 defeat by Leicester City that compounded his side's miserable start to the season. Mourinho was sacked 7 months after he led them to the Premier League title. Mourinho took charge in June 2013 and had been in his second spell at the club. Luis Suarez's hat-trick helped Barcelona reach the FIFA Club World Cup finals as they beat Guangzhou Evergrande 3-0 in the semi-finals. Barca will now seek to win the title for a third time when they meet Argentina's River Plate in the finals to be played on Sunday. A FIFA court started hearings in cases of the suspended FIFA president Sepp Blatter and his deputy Michel Platini on corruption charges. Blatter is under investigation over a 2 million Swiss franc payment that FIFA made to Platini in 2011. A verdict is likely to be given as early as next Monday. And that's all we have for you on the news tonight from the entire team here. Good night.